Right.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the all new TTown 411 report and our community conversations program. We come here each and every week, Tuesday and Thursday, each and every week at 8 p.m. And we talk about local, state, national events and conversations that's going around here in the country. We're broadcasting right here from the McKinstry studio, and we're broadcasting live also on Sound Booth Radio 106.1 and Sound Booth TV. Mike, tell them how can they sound in on Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV. You on, Mike? Mike?
You think it's no? If
Go ahead,
mute,
Mike.
well, it might be mute.
That was me.
Is it on mute?
That was me. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike. I got it.
Okay, sure thing, Daryl. Check us out on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. Just go to your iOS or your Google Play Store, download the 9365 app. Once you download that app, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1 in the search bar. That'll get you on with us on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. And check us out on the video side. Just go to Facebook or YouTube, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1. And that'll get you on with us on Sound Booth ENT.
Ron, give us the update on the COVID.
Okay, the COVID-19 update per the New York Times. As of today, February 21st, the latest trends for Alabama show that there's an average of 868 cases that were reported each day in the last week. Cases have decreased about 17% from the average of 2 weeks ago. Deaths have decreased by 45%. The monkeypox update will update later this week. And they're at 187 still, so it's still at 187 for Alabama. And I wish that they would report how many of those cases have cleared up, because it only tells how many reported cases have been as of the date. DCH also will report on tomorrow, so Thursday we'll get the COVID update from DCH. Today's influenza update per the Alabama Department of Health remains at 2.54%, which is below the Alabama 2022-2023 baseline of 3.27%. So influenza continues to improve as well. Everybody be safe, wear your mask, use your sanitizer, wash your hands, all that good stuff. Distance when you can, and stay prayed up and just be as safe as possible.
Okay. I'm working on this audio right quick, y'all. We're going to get it a little bit louder in just a second. All right, there we go. Had a little temporary problem, but I think they heard you anyway. Y'all had a great day today.
Yeah, had a good day today. How about y'all? Today it started out rainy and then got pretty.
Yeah, start
See,
out
that's the way I've been.
Look like, they keep saying, they like to talk about that groundhog, but I said that groundhog ain't from Alabama, because every time you say it's going to stay cold for 6 weeks, it tends to get hot down here in Alabama relatively quick. Yeah, we looking at 70-some degrees today. By the end of the week, it's supposed to be in the 80s. So, and yeah, I know it's still February, right?
right.
So that's Alabama weather for you. That's all I can say.
Okay, well, y'all join me in a quick prayer, as we always do, to opening up this program. We always say a quick prayer and try to pray for everybody. Much prayer, much power. If you would, just for a brief moment. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to come on the airways and share information and talk with family and friends throughout this country. Heavenly Father, we give you all the praise. We give you all the glory. We want to thank you for your grace and your mercy, Heavenly Father. Right now, we're praying for all our essential workers. We are praying for all our military personnel and government operations, governmental personnel. We're praying for our presidents and governors and mayors and city council, county commissions, school board members, whoever they may be, Heavenly Father. Praying for all the sick and shut in right now. Praying for all the bereavement families right now that are going through a crisis of losing a loved one. We want to say a special prayer for my good friend and relative Bruce Steele, who lost his mother on last week. And we just want to let him know that we're thinking and praying for him and the whole family. Heavenly Father, we're praying for those right now that's in the hospital and need a healing. Of course, we're praying for all the nurses and doctors and nurses and all the personnel that's at the hospitals and the nursing homes. Heavenly Father, we ask that you don't forget about our elderly that's in the nursing home and continue to protect them from all shape, forms, and fashion of harm. We're praying for all the children right now. Heavenly Father, we're praying that you prick the heart right now and give the children the opportunity at Hillcrest High School to put on a great Black History program, Heavenly Father. We're praying for someone that might change their mind and let all the students participate in this Black History program. Heavenly Father, we came a long ways, and we know we can't do it without you, and we still give you all the praise and the glory. In your Son, Jesus Christ's name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Just want to say a quick prayer for the children. You know, at Hillcrest, they have the Black History program on tomorrow, and there's a lot of work been going on behind the scenes that people just don't know, and how I just want to thank the ones that's behind the scene trying to make things happen for this um, Hillcrest situation. There's crisis at Hillcrest High School right now, and we really thank you all that's doing it, and you know who you are. And that what brings us to this conversation tonight that we're talking about the critical race theory. And can you really put on a Black History program without talking about the civil rights movement and slavery? Um, you know, how can you not talk about it when you're seeing movies consistently being uh, produced? Every year there's a new slavery movie that's being promoted or produced about slavery in Africa and people being brought over. Roots, how can you forget the movie Roots? For those that grew up during that time period. But this new thing, critical race theory, is something new that it's not really new, but it's something that people don't want to really talk about. So while we get people to chime in and give them a few minutes to chime in, we got to change the phone number tonight, and we'll go ahead and mention that. The 205-826-7661 number is not available tonight. Please call Mike's line at 310-6067. And let me fix that tonight. I can take numbers, but tonight's number, the 826-7661, is not available. So 205-292-5080 or 310-6067 are the numbers tonight to call. And we might have a good one. I want to say hello to Tina Sanders. Thank you for chiming in. Patricia Sunshine Williams. Lala, how you doing? Thank you all for chiming in with us already. Let's go ahead and say this about the disclaimer under the copyrights disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing upon nonprofit, educational, or personal use tip, balance in favor of fair use. I also want to throw this in that the opinions expressed in this presentation are my personal opinions, Mike's and Veronica's, and must not be construed as representing the opinions of any institution with which I am or have been affiliated in my professional life. That goes for Veronica and Mike's also. So in other words, even though I work for a corporation now, and in the past with the police department, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the opinion of any of those institutions that I work for or have worked for in the past. Uh, uh, we're going to take a quick break before we do that, and then I'll answer Patricia Williams' question about the program today. I thought it was tomorrow, but I think it is tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back, y'all, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Tuscaloosa, get ready for the TTown Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Grill Festival, Saturday, May 27th at Palmore Park, featuring O.B. McKenna, Lavelle Hollywood,
Is you 25 and
Arthur Young, Tucker,
They call me Tucker.
TK Soul,
Oh, drive
Miss Jody,
me right.
plus Donnie Ray and the J. Morris Group. Also a special
Get your event jumping with Caroline Shines and Impulse Band. Impulse Band has been together for over 7 years, and they haven't missed a beat yet. The band has and will play in various venues and doesn't mind traveling to you. Being led by Alabama Blues Hall of Famer herself, Mrs. Caroline Shine. Impulse has opened up for Bobby Rush, LJ Eccles, Tank, Fantasia, Calvin Richardson, just to name a few. The Impulse Band will surely fit your need for entertainment. Dial 205-887-6859 or 205-887-5026. Or you can just email them at shinesbrightly@yahoo.com. Caroline Shines and Impulse, the band made just for you.
For over 27 years here in Tuscaloosa, Catfish Heaven has been pleasing our taste buds with their delicious catfish, pan trout, hot wings, coleslaw, hush puppies, and don't forget about those made-to-order French fries. Whether it's your snack time, lunchtime, or dinner time, give the guys a call over at Catfish Heaven at 205-752-7222, or you can make your order online at catfishheaventuscaloosa.com. So head on over to Catfish Heaven at 2502 21st Street. See you there.
Hello?
Hey Rick, I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother?
I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday. All I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Rib Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Tuscaloosa, get ready for the TTown Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Grill Festival, Saturday, May 27th at Palmore Park, featuring O.B. McKenna, Lavelle Hollywood,
Is you 25 and
Arthur Young, Tucker,
They call me Tucker.
TK Soul,
Oh, drive
Miss Jody,
me right.
plus Donnie Ray and the J. Morris Group. Also a special guest.
Out of anger because they couldn't, take over. But but when they wanted to have the initiative,
Okay. Okay, we're back. Okay, we're back. We want to thank everybody for continuing to deal with our sponsors of the program. We want to thank all the sponsors of the program. And if you'd like to be a sponsor of the program, all you have to do is contact myself or Mike, and that'll get you in contact with us here. Tonight we're talking about the critical race theory. CRT is known. We're talking about hosting Black History classes or programs throughout our country. We have Black History programs in all our just about every church, and it shows where we came from. That's one reason we talk about it or can try to teach our young children where we came from, how far we came from, and how far we can't, where we're going in the future. Uh, you know, when I was coming up and going through schools in the early 70s, I guess you can say, in the 70s, um, there wasn't a disparity between a, white water fountain and a black. It actually, when I was coming along, that's when actually the opportunity to go to school with uh, white in the same school and throughout the rest of my high school year. But nowadays, it's like they don't want to talk about it, and it's like it's not something that people want to. The children of today, I guess you can say, the children of today, they don't want the children of today to feel that they're responsible for what happened from their ancestors that were slave owners or part of the civil rights movement of trying to stop it. So this is what we're talking about tonight. If you'd like to join the conversation, it needs to be talked about. I mean, it's something that we can't just keep hiding and putting on the table. You can call Mike number 205-310-6067 or my number at 205-292-5080. What's your opinion? We got a call on the phone with us, Mike.
Well, we do have this young on the line with us right now. But real quick before we get into that, man, this is such a big thing that 44 states in the United States right now have legislation saying about some sort of critical race theory. For whatever reason it is, they want to erase everything that happened to Black America before 1970. The difference is that they don't want to admit to Black history or African American history as being American history. Not one time have we ever tried to erase anything that happened in colonial times or anything to that aspect. We learned about the Civil War and everything, but they want to take that part of it out because it makes people feel uncomfortable. Now there were a whole lot of people that had to live through those times that felt uncomfortable. I'm quite sure they felt uncomfortable. Just because your ancestors did something, that don't mean that you follow suit behind it. But if you don't know nothing about it, and I'm not just talking about just Black people. I'm talking about everybody. If everybody don't know anything about it, then you're bound to repeat that. So I just don't understand the concept of this critical race theory and hey, well, that happened such a long time ago. Let's not keep harping on it. And I've actually heard Black people say the same thing, and it annoyed me. It annoyed me.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Lisa.
Oh, hey there, how you doing?
Great, great.
What I was gonna say is, I think if we remove the label, we say critical race theory, but let's be honest, it's really American history. It's events that transpired right here on American soil. And while it may not be something that whites want to rehash, it's still our legacy. So when you talk about heritage and legacy. You know, I don't look at it as something that's shameful. People have looked at it as something. There are African Americans that look at it as it was a shameful part of our history. But to me, it shows the resilience of our people and how we're able to overcome adversity. I mean, if you think about it, we were enslaved for over 300 years. Ain't no way I got a 300-year head start on you and you living next to me. Ain't no way. So that tells you about the drive of the African American people. That tells you about the determination of the African American people. That tells you everything you need to know about who we are as a people. So we have to embrace our history and not allow anybody else to water down our history. It's sad that you have people of color that do not want to talk about our history. They consider it shameful. It makes absolutely no sense because what they don't realize, you got people around here still having the Civil War reenactment. Mm-hmm. They do it every single year.
Yeah.
They get together for it. You have people around here that are still upset now because we removed the land because of the negative connotations or the racism surrounding the individuals that they were elected in honor of. I don't. It's just some things that I guess I never get. But to tell an entire group of people that you can't talk about your own heritage or what happened to you as a people is disrespectful. It's disrespectful. It's like saying you don't matter. And that's what the Customs County school system did. Not one. No one has yet to admit that it happened and to apologize for it happening. Nobody has been held accountable for it being said. That within itself is disrespectful and indicative of the culture within the entire system. And we went to the board today and spoke, and I can tell you this disdain that we saw in their looks and their glance for us. I honestly, you can tell they do not care. They do not care about us as a people. I know they ain't mad about their tax referendum because we're going to pay it anyway because it was poorly circulated or marketed. So, and only 17% of the voters came out. But that's also the reason why we were having this issue with critical race theory or American history, certain parts of it being erased. Because people don't come out to vote. They don't come out to vote. That's how we ended up with those individuals as board members.
I feel it's none. And I still don't understand this big pushback with critical race theory because initially it was something that became, I guess, a thing, something that was taught by scholars who decided to say, hey, these are the issues, these are the racial issues that impact us as a society. They impact why maybe some neighborhoods get less funding. They impact why those neighborhoods tend to be usually 99.99% African American neighborhoods or other people of color. Critical race theory is definitely something it's not okay. Nobody when you send your kids to school, elementary school, and usually not even high school, unless it's like some big elite high school, they're not in there teaching that, because they're not in there to the teacher in the front of the class saying, okay, you guys, you're African American, and you know that there's a school to prison pipeline for you, right? So what you need to do to avoid that school to prison pipeline is you need to do this. White Americans, you need to feel a little bit guilty because due to the systemic racism that has been here for ever since the first slaves came here to Virginia, some people say Florida, you need to feel a little guilty because these people now, they don't have a leg up like you when they graduate. Even though that's true, that critical race theory, some of those elements, the one or two that I just named, they're not being taught in most of these schools. So critical race theory in itself, to me, is the reason that we're seeing these elementary and high schools start to make the decisions that they're making now. Because critical race theory is basically just, it's a framework of ideas that people see, from experiment, that because of race, maybe some tests kids aren't scoring as high on. Because of race, they're not getting funded in these particular schools. Because of race, maybe black women aren't treated the same when they go to the hospital. So it's not even just a school thing. It's actually a societal thing. It's about why we as a society, if you're a certain race, you're more likely to be on the harsher end of the spectrum when it comes to things in society than our white counterparts. Now, that being said, it's usually taught in colleges, elite high schools, and other schools. It's not being taught in school, but I think that they're afraid that they are going to start teaching in school. And if they did, so what? Because that shows a systemic problem. And who's the system? Who runs the system? So it's not even about the racism itself. It's more or less about how the racism plays a part on the lives of African American people, who basically what they're talking about over here in America. And it's how those issues tend to hold you back, and they don't want to admit to that. They don't want to admit that, you hear it, like I said, you don't even hear it in school. It's not going to go anywhere. Critical race theory is not going to go anywhere because there's truth to the theory. I mean, we talk about it every day. When you're stopped, okay, every officer may not give you a ticket, but if you're a person of color, you may get a ticket. Now, some of these issues and prejudices and biases are because of personal reasons, and some of them are just systemic reasons. They're systemic reasons. The school, especially the school to prison pipeline, the exposure to police violence, um, your housing. You go into a neighborhood to buy a house. Okay, your credit may be 9,000, and somebody else's credit may be 600. But what will your car note be? What will your bill be? I mean, there have been companies that sue, automobile companies sue behind this stuff. So critical race theory is a thing that they just don't want to see. It's all about how your race reflects the way you were treated in society. The basic line is what it is, and they don't want to admit to it. They don't want it to be taught. Why not let it be taught? We see it happens every day, not just in schools, in society.
There's a thing saying, critics say criminal race theory claim it discriminates against white people.
Yeah, that's the claim. That's the claim. So if it ain't white, it ain't right, as far as they're concerned.
What does red line do?
Oh,
What does justification do?
Okay, and all of that. What is that? Race, and how our race, how things happen in society, redlining, gentrification. What is that? Because they don't want you to vote a certain way. Why is that? Because black people may tend to vote in a liberal way instead of a conservative way. So what is that? It's all part of critical race theory. It's just the way it affects the society, the things that happen in society. The truth is the truth.
Should it be taught in the state of Alabama? Do y'all think critical race theory should be taught in public schools here in the state of Alabama?
I think American history should be taught, the good, the bad, and the ugly. When I was in school, when I was in grade school, I can remember when they started to teach us the theory of evolution. And because I was in a real religious household, we were not taught the theory of evolution because of our religious beliefs. We believed in creation. And the theory of evolution was contrary to that. But I think my folks forgot that I went to the library at the time. So I already knew the theory of evolution. But not teaching me the theory of evolution placed me at a disadvantage later on in life. I didn't have a well-rounded point of view. You know, it reduces your talking point. It places you at a disadvantage to not know.
Right.
At least once you introduce a subject matter to a person and they learn it, then you have a right or the opportunity to address it in a methodical way. Where, okay, now that you've learned, let's go back and look at what happened, why it happened, and why we don't want it to happen again. Or you get the opportunity to dispel it, but dispel it with facts, actual facts, not something that we don't made up because we don't like the part that is being done.
Right, Lisa, right. And the way to dispel it is what I talk about all the time on here. When you're going before the courts, when you encounter officers, fair and equal across the board. Because those who oppose critical race theory, they basically just attacking your freedom of speech, almost like your freedom of expression. They're trying to attack your freedom to believe the truthful history about race. They don't want you to believe the history about it, and they don't want you to believe how it affects, how it plays a part on the things that happen in society today. They don't want you. It's almost like we would have to like ignore our Black experience. That's what the opponents of CRT want you to do. The way the way our ancestors lived, the way our great grandparents, our grandparents, our parents lived, the way we live. They don't want our experience. It's like they want to just diminish it. Like they want to remove the truth out of American history as relates to race. That's basically to me what it is. You want to remove the truth about racism out of American history and out of present day America.
Well, that's like talking about sharecropping, right? Without explaining why so many blacks had to be sharecropping.
Right.
You'll talk about the fact that they were sharecroppers and they worked the land, but you won't discuss why they had to be sharecroppers. So you only get the first half of the truth.
Right. You're denying the rest of people the truth.
Well, I have a lot of people. This is how slavery would be explained. We have a lot of people that work on great granddaddy's farm. Well, what were they paid? Well, we allow them to stay there for free. We clothe them for free.
Okay, but then if you say, were they punished? What if they didn't work? Well, they all worked. But what if they didn't work? Like if you want the whole true history, but what if they didn't work? Well, what do you mean they all worked? So all of them was good, hardworking people. Because if that was the case, then we should have everybody out here working today. Because certain things are genetic and certain things are learned behaviors. So all of them worked, and they worked freely, and they worked eagerly, and of their own volition, their own accord. Then why are so many? Why is it not like that today, or at least closer to being that way? Because if you ask them what happened if they didn't do what was told to them to do, then they don't want to talk about that part. They don't want to discuss that part. How did that affect families then? Because when your crops didn't do as well, or you felt like your slaves were getting a little bit old, if they may have been 30, 40 years old, you sent them somewhere else, then what happened? the creation of another family. When he left a family, he probably didn't even really want to leave. But he left another family because he can't do the hard work as much as the 19 to 30-year-olds. So they send him somewhere else. But guess what? He's still a productive slave. So now he creates another family. What do we have a lot of today? Not that that's the only reason, but that's the kind of stuff we have today when people create families here, they create families there, and they ain't slaves. But that's that's what happens. It's how racism has affected society then and now, and they want it to be removed. And that's just one aspect. That's just one little example. So what happened if they didn't work? They're not going to tell you where we beat them. What happened if they didn't work? They're not going to tell you the result of what happened if they didn't work. But they want to talk about, okay, if you're going to talk about slavery, just talk about, well, they went and they worked in the, on the plantation and they did this and they did that. Well, okay, well, what if one of them got tired right before sundown? What happened? What if one of them ran away? What if one of them didn't want to work? They don't want to discuss that part. So they only want to discuss their history. But that wouldn't be American history. So if they want to split history in half and just flush one half and keep moving with the other half. And don't tell me, well, when you guys want to take down the monuments, you want to get rid of history. No. When you build monuments, what are you doing? You're praising something. You're saying, yeah, I don't know a statue yet that was built by somebody in an effort to demean them. It was built to uplift and praise them in their behavior, their way of life. So if you remove a monument that the ones that have been removed that they're mad about, those monuments were of people who did awful things. So don't tell me that it compares like we're trying to remove your history. We're not. Nobody said to take them out of books. Nobody said not to teach about it. Because if you don't teach, you will forget and you will repeat. And you don't even have to forget, but you will repeat. So don't compare it to taking down your monuments as removing your history. We're not saying that. We're saying that it doesn't need to be glorified. Because when you build monuments and statues, that's glorification. So they don't compare. They're not the same. We're not trying to remove your history by removing monuments. We're trying to remove glorification. This is 2023. You're glorifying a man that probably did who knows what to people. That definitely was not good. You never saw one black person complain about a statue of a white man that did good. The only statues that we want to remove was the ones that y'all know they did. But that's what some say. Well, y'all trying to erase our history, and even in asking that those statues be removed, not once have we ever said not to teach about them.
That's an interesting point. That's a very interesting point you brought up, Veronica, about the statues and history. We had a class called World History at one time, and I'm not sure if it's still taught in schools today or not, but there was one time on Alabama history, there was world history, there was just U.S. history. These were courses that were required at one time. And when I was coming up in the ninth grade, Alabama history was a required course. In the 12th, 11th or 12th grade, it was required. U.S. history was a required course. Let me let this caller join in. Hold on. Hey, caller, go ahead.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
I think it's me. Hold on. Try now.
How about that?
It's going on with me. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead now, Jess.
All right. That's better?
It's me. It's me and these chords tonight. It's try now.
How about that?
There you go.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody.
Good. Before you get started, just let me read this comment. After truth is established, then justice and equality is next. What does justice look like for people who work from sun up to sundown for over 300 years? That was a comment made by DeAndre X. Welcome to the program, DeAndre. Appreciate you joining in with us. Jesse, also, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. Hey, Veronica. Yes, interesting topic of discussion tonight. And it's one of those topics that'll never get old with me, but I see it's getting old with a lot of other folks that don't quite look like me and you. But
well, let me just before you get started, let me ask y'all this too, and you can elaborate on this too, just.
yes, sir.
Do the African American community really know what critical race theory really means? I mean, is it a conversation that people of color really know what it means in the South? I think I must use the word here. Here, well, do you think African American communities know what it really means? Has it really been explained to them?
I don't think it's really been explained in its totality to everybody because I still come across some people that that don't they got a good idea that it's dealing with Black history, but they don't know to what effect and how deep it is and how meaningful it is. So yeah, I don't think a lot of people really know to that to that fact.
I'm just curious. I mean, the average person, would you walk up to and say, "Hey, you know much about this critical race theory?" And they say, "Huh? What you talking about?"
Mm-hmm. But when I do come across them, I'll have a problem explaining it to them, and then after I explain it to them, I tell them, do some research,
Right.
And because that's my way of doing my part. You have some people they won't even do that much, and it's unfortunate in our community is that some people have information and we have information and we withhold it. I don't know out of begrudgingness or I don't know what it is. I can't really explain why we hold so much information and don't disclose a lot of what findings that we have that will benefit the next person. And I even explained this to a couple of friends. We talk and debate, and a lot of the way we are is really a direct result of how our ancestors were treated. And a lot of and we don't always think in that manner, but when a whole race of people, a culture of people has been isolated from their culture, ripped from their culture, and then forced into another culture and to take on those beliefs, then it over centuries and time it gets passed on. Those bad behaviors get passed on. As our ancestors. Exactly, Jesse. Here's the example of when you move a slave from his wife and children on one plantation and you send him to another plantation. He's 40 years old, say, but he's too old for the work you want him to do. Then he creates another family. And sometimes back in the days, those people did reconnect. But then if he's moved one more time, he's created a third family. And sometimes you use him to so-called breed right there in the same plantation. Yeah, that stuff is passed down. That idea and the mentality. You feed people chitlins. You feed them the slop in the halls, and you wonder why to this day, some people still eat it. It's like I was telling them, it's some of the little bitty things. It all would resort back to critical race theory. It's just how your race, how you being a Black person. Yeah. May reflect how it is in society for you today. Now, will all Black people fall under certain labels? No. But when you start talking about, where they're the bad in schools to get the poor financial backing. Why is that? Why, like Lisa said, why is it the gentrification? Why is the redlining? Because that's what's been done. And it's been done based on the color of our skins. Why, when you encounter certain law enforcement, we tense up quicker than someone else? Why even white people are able to say, yes, we don't have to have that conversation?
So our race is the things that we have to deal with in society are reflective of our race. Why if you go in there with a 9,000 credit score and someone else goes in there with 600, you have to get a Ford Pinto. It's about the systemic stuff also that affects our people. So it's just like you said, that stuff that happened back then is still happening today. It's just a different time. That's correct. And all those things are true. And some of so it's like when we go to counseling, right? And say a drug addict, this hypothetically speaking, it's hypothetical. Drug addict, he's on drugs, let's say alcoholic, in society, they say alcoholism is what? It's generic, it's hereditary. Don't they, am I wrong? Isn't that something that they say? It can be. Right. So think of that. Now, you have to get counseling for that. And the first thing alcoholic has to do, what they have to do in order to heal from that, what they need to do.
Admit.
Now, we have to admit to it, right? And then when you admit to it, then you have to learn about it so that you can battle and make sure you build yourself up and make yourself better. Okay, CRT. Think about it. CRT, right?
Right.
Now, we've been hereditarily affected by slavery, only up to this point. So we have to look, the only way you can defeat something, your enemy, is you have to learn about your enemy. And our personalities and our characteristics and our attitudes and the way we move about, all is a direct effect of slavery. It's passed on to generations, and it's been filtered inside of us. Some of us come up and we learn from family and how to deal with, those demons from the past, and some of us hadn't. We come up in a rough environment that it loses the bad behavior and the trust issues and the psychological issues that are within us from that, and all of that stuff comes streaming out. And what we have people blacks, we have ourselves, our black brothers and sisters in society battling this and having a hard time dealing with it, hard time dealing with each other, hard time trusting each other, because all this stuff is passed on. So when you start in school with CRT, and then we start to learn about how our ancestors were treated, and then we start to see some patterns that we read about in ourselves, and then you start understanding, like, wait a minute, maybe that's a direct effect on me. Let me read more. Let me learn more about this. And see, when you learn about things and you admit to things that you're going through, then you start to heal. We as a people haven't even healed yet.
That's a good point.
We still healing. And we all know, especially you, Darryl, you worked in law enforcement, you've seen a lot of addictions and a lot of trauma in people. And you've probably seen some that recovered from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of us are still healing from all of that. Some just have been blessed to have been able to deal with it and heal from it because we had a specific type of upbringing that was different from others, that allowed us to heal, that allowed us to grow into a civilized manner. But when you are damaged, and when your great grandparents, of course, all of us were damaged, and they are feeding into the damaged behavior and ideology of how white America was treating them, then all that gets pushed forward because there's a lot of fear in that. There's a lot of fear and there's a lot of hate. But the main thing was survival. So they survived in the best way they could. By what? Some you had the black folks turning on black folks.
which that was doing had a lot to do with the way we are now, is that we won't give each other that uplifting, that how you say it, that village mentality. Because when we had that started, when the white folks saw it starting in Oklahoma, in Greenwood, when they saw it, what did they do? They blew it up. Oh no, we can't let these black folks. No. That group right there has healed right there. If we let that healing right there circulate within the rest of the black community, then guess what? We gonna lose. When you had the Black Wall Street, they were striving. They relied on themselves. They trusted themselves. They built themselves up. But when the white society saw that, like I said, they eliminated it. So they don't want CRT to be taught because it's going to be too much of that going on. It'll be too much of that learned, and they'll lose the grip that they have on us. Because then we'll start to rely on each other. We'll start to trust each other. We'll start patronizing with each other. We'll keep all of our dollars in our own community. Because at one point, they didn't want our dollars until segregation came, and then they found out, oh, wait a minute, all their dollars is good. Let's get them dollars too. Now they just want our money. They don't want us. They just want our money. So we're in a state right now with CRT, I believe, start the ones, the adults and the young adults now have got a chance, but the grown folks that just are lost to that cause, maybe not. But we start our kids in the kindergarten and on up, teaching that in school, they'll learn and they'll heal. And then maybe they'll have a better future for them. But it needs to start somewhere. So I'm always going to be all for, black health and CRT and educating our kids about us, because we learned enough about them. As I said last week, I always believe a black man invented a lawnmower. I'm just saying, I never believed a white guy invented a lawnmower. I just didn't see how that was possible when he was never in the fields and it really didn't benefit him either way. Black folks are the most innovative people on the planet. Africans were always the most innovative. They've always created smarter ways of doing any type of labor. That's been shown throughout history. What Europeans have been known for is what? Conquering and destroying. That's all they've been known for. And taking from other races. They went to China, and what they did with China, they went over there and found a way. China had the gunpowder. They took that. They seen they was using it for fireworks. China was using it for fireworks. They got the gunpowder and brought it back and turned it into weapons. There's always something that they do in history that they've done, that they've taken from other cultures, and they created it for destruction. Never for enjoyment, never for peace, never for anything but destruction. So maybe that's one of the reasons too that they don't want critical race theory to come in, because it'll show that they are the savages on this earth, not the Africans, not the Indians. Them. They don't want their kids to know that. That's just my take on, the CRT, controversy. They don't want to learn the truth about themselves, not about us learning the truth about us. They don't want to learn the truth about themselves. And they're afraid their children are going to look back at their own ancestors and think of a negative way, coming home and say, Mom, was our ancestors that bad? Were they that cruel and evil to people? They don't have that discussion because, a lot of them don't even acknowledge that they're European in the South. At least I know that. I know that as a fact. A lot of white folks in the South do not acknowledge themselves as being European. Some of them don't even know where they come from. They actually think they just come from here. Which I find that as crazy as can be, but you ask a few, and you'll find out for yourself. They don't know.
If someone else would like to join the conversation, please call in on 205-310-6067. 205-310-6067. I'm going to read a few comments from people that has chimed in on the program. DeAndre X said, all they know is it makes many white people uncomfortable, and that makes us want nothing to do with it. And I think that was relating to the question about did a lot of African American realize what these CRT was really mean. Linda said, acknowledge that you need help first before the healing can even begin. And she goes on to say, people have to realize that CRT is a reality, not something to be swept under the rug. It sounds kind of cowardly to me, not wanting to accept responsibility. I'm all for teaching CRT in schools. It's a part of history. And DeAndre say you're absolutely correct. So this critical race theory idea or controversy, I guess you can say, it's necessary to all the things that Jesse said is if you're going to get over if you're going to admit and I like the way you put it, a drug addict first or alcoholic first asks you to admit that you are a alcoholic or you are a drug person, and then you begin to learn more about it, and then you begin to realize how to correct yourself in not being an alcoholic or a person on drugs or attempt to not to be. Like I was bringing
One of
up.
the other things, Daryl, I ain't even cut you off, but one of the other things in the recovery process is making amends to everybody that you hurt while you were in your addiction. Yeah. And you know they don't want to do that. Mm-mm. And admit to being wrong. Not at that degree. You're right, Mike.
What can a person do right now? I mean, what can white America actually do to the people, us, our generations? What can they actually do to correct this, other than to say, "I'm sorry"?
Reparations. Start there.
Financially?
Yeah. That would be a start. Reparations would be a start. I think there are and an open willingness to learn what all that we had to go through, what our people had to go through, accept it, and try to grow together. And when you start talking about growing together, at some point we got to realize that we are all human beings, regardless of our skin color. There are animals in the wild animals that get along better than human beings, and we're supposed to be the alpha species. And they don't care if they brown, they don't care if they black, they don't care if they white. You know, you can be any other animal color as long as you. I'm gonna use a dog for instance. You can be any other kind of dog as long as you're a dog. They generally do the same things. If they mad at you, they fight because they're just dogs, not just because of the color of their fur. So we know we're gonna get to that spot if you ask me. And that's one thing that we gotta do because right now no one wants to take responsibility for what happened, how we got here. Everybody got here some way, shape, form, or fashion. The only people who were already here were indigenous. After that, there was a boat that brought everybody else here.
So, if there was a slave master by the name of McKinstry, and the descendants of that particular slave master uh, is found tomorrow, and he walks up to me and say, "Hey, I'm a descendant of XXXX McKinstry from 1819, and your family was a part of our plantation in Pickens County. And he walked up to me and say, "I apologize for the way things were, or the way things happened to the McKinstry family." What I mean, how can I? What can I other than say than I accept your apology? Because right now I really don't know all the hardship. I mean, I know of people going through hardships of picking cotton and the abuse and physical abuse, sexual abuse, all that happened. But what else can I do other than accept the apology?
You know, Daryl, you're right, but you're right on part of that. Yeah, I can accept the apology too. I can accept an apology from that particular person because they weren't. I'm not holding them accountable for what happened. And see, that's the problem with a lot of white folks. They seem to think we're directly holding them directly responsible for what happened then. No, that's not what we're saying. At least that's not what I'm saying. I don't think any of y'all are saying that.
Right.
Most black people aren't. What we're saying is that what y'all did to our ancestors, our relatives back then, you should be ashamed of. One. And two, you drove them to the ground. You worked them for nothing. So even though you apologizing, your folks is the one, all that your wealth that y'all have is partly because of us. So what part of that you gonna give to us to say that you understand what they did was wrong? See, that's the thing. See, these people don't want to give up anything, and that's the problem. They think that once it's been disclosed and put out there, they have to give up something, and they don't want to give up anything.
They don't want to give up anything, but then when we fight and pull ourselves up like they request and say that we should, then they want to take that. They want to take that.
They're so narcissistic, you know. See, Europeans are the most narcissistic race out there. And once they go in, they want everything to be their way. If it ain't their way, it's not the right way. They want to change your religion. They want to change the way you walk, the way you put your shoes on, the food you eat. They want to change everything about your culture. It's about power. You know, and that alone, it says a lot about who they are. And the fact of the matter is, they have to give up something, not just an apology. They're going to have to turn loose a lot and for them to make it right. They know it. But guess what? If you know it, some people will even go so far and say, you know something, you're absolutely right. You know? And I my folks did that to you. I'm benefiting from all that my folks did back then to your people. I should be condemned to make it right. You know, I should be motivated by my heart to make it right. The people that are living off of that wealth that was made back then now. But they think just an apology is okay. No, apology is all right, but it's not okay. It doesn't solve anything because guess what? We're still in the situation we're in. We've been denied, you know, wealth. We've been denied, you know, the wealth that they had the opportunity to build and to create. We weren't given that right. You know, over the years, even when we were free, they redlined us. So we couldn't create generational wealth. Meanwhile, they had all the opportunities, even after the fact. You know, the ones that weren't rich, they made sure they put them in a position where their children would benefit from it. But we weren't given in. We weren't even given the 40 acres. The 40 acres and the mule was supposed to put us on the right path. But they ain't even give us that. You know, and them carpetbaggers came in and they made sure that wasn't happening. I mean, it's just so much was put in the way of our ancestors and the things that were denied to our ancestors that put us in a situation where they had to fight and struggle from that point on. And then even when they found a way to build on off of pulling up their own straps and bootstraps and getting in the fields and acquiring land and fielding the land and plowing the land and creating their own, incomes and their own wealth and their own towns. They had to take that from us too. It's just amazing. It did not matter what we did back then. They were going to make sure it didn't get far, and they was going to take it from us because they wanted to keep us right where they had us at. So I say, okay, I'm a United States citizen. My government, it's your time to do what's right. Do your job. Take care of us the way we're supposed to have been by the United States government back then. Because see, they take care of everybody else. They send billions and billions of dollars over to other countries all the time.
Good point.
Send some of those billions of dollars right here and get us straight. They can figure it out. Doesn't take it won't take a rocket scientist. It'll take a few, mathematicians and a couple of accountants, but they can get it right though.
Linda Owens made a comment, and she said, "I attended TJHS, having to stand and sing Dixie every morning in an assembly instead of lift every voice, singing about land of cotton, old times, they're not forgotten. That in itself was humiliating. Our youth of today needs to know that what took place back then, not ignore their wishes to learn their history and how far we have come." Yeah, I remember back in the early elementary school days, you served breakfast and you stood by there. You said the Pledge of Allegiance. You said some schools even required you to sing Star Spangled Banner. Was it America the Beautiful?
You're a good old flag.
Who that?
You're a grand old flag, Alpine flag. Right after the Pledge of Allegiance, you had to sing like a little song right after the Pledge of Allegiance and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And that there right there, Mike, that part of that brainwashing, how they try to keep a stronghold on our mind. See, they got that in the schools, and then just not the other day, some white folks had a problem with at the Super Bowl when they sang "Lift Every Voice." What is there? 2 national anthems now? Really? I mean, come on.
And I wonder how many people walked away from the screen during that time.
Something? I'm probably sure it was a lot of them behind closed doors. And my thing, America got America got some nerve. It got some nerve. A lot of Americans. I ain't gonna say America, but I'm saying some Americans, white Americans, they have some nerve to have anything to say about anything for all the wrong that they people have done in this world, not just this country.
I thought that was a good thing to incorporate.
I thought it was great. I was like, it's about time. I really was like, it was about time they sang that song. I thought they should sing America. To be honest, I feel that America is the true national anthem. Should be. Most countries they sing their national anthems is about their country. And they use their country like Canada is all about old Canada. These other countries about that country, Italia. It's crazy.
I think that was a great decision on the Super Bowl committee. I really checked out the diversity of the artists that they allowed to perform. Chris Stapleton, Rihanna, Babyface, Miss what's her name? That song, um, um, lift every voice. What's her name? I'm sorry,
I forget. Jesus.
but they
Yeah.
they gave each race. I'm gonna just say the black and the white an opportunity to enjoy artists, variety of different artists that's singing things that represent. You noticed also
Different cultures. Yeah.
you noticed also that the players didn't actually come on the field during that time
Mm-hmm.
of the singing of the national anthem or lift every voice or America
Mm-hmm.
or whatever was sung. It is
Mm-hmm.
like, let's keep the controversy of them taking a knee or showing black pride. You know, it was an
Yeah.
opportunity to
Yeah.
downplay any kind of diversity that took place during the Super Bowl. And because millions and millions of people watched the Super Bowl, and I think the Super Bowl, or I'm gonna say events of that magnitude, national championship game, the Super Bowl, basketball tournament, those are the most valuable time to teach America great things about coming together as a community. It shouldn't never be about just Bud Light beer or any of these other type things. Of course, it's a sponsorship type inviting thing. I know it's about money, but just think, you get millions of people together at an opportunity time on television to promote or promote unity. This CRT thing, the teachings, that is the most wonderful time in American history during national football games and Super Bowl and basketball national championships and stuff. Those are great opportunities. I think some public announcement should be made or persuade on TV, about gun violence. That'll be the perfect time to say something about gun violence or doing away with gun violence. They use it for uh, uh, I think I've seen commercials relating to AIDS and different teachings and stuff. But I like the idea that they were very diverse on cultural activities and different commercials. I really do. So I gotta applaud them on that for what they did. Getting back to the critical race theory, if anyone else would like to join the conversation, 205-310-6067 or 292-5080. Tomorrow, Hillcrest High School will be hosting the Black History program. Um, the young lady wasn't given an opportunity to be a part of the program. I mean, it's not all of. Actually, it was brought out. I think Mike will correct me on this, but I think the idea of her not being a part of the Black History program just kind of open the eyes or open the wounds to a bunch of other things that were going on in the county school system itself. But
Well, it was more like them saying that the Black History program, they didn't want to talk about nothing beyond 1970. That actually sparked everything. Jemiah's journey was just another notch against everything, and it kind of snowballed after that. It was just so many different things that was going on over there at Hillcrest that a lot of people they were not aware of. The young people act like, well, I ain't gonna say they act like they didn't feel as though they had people listening to them in the aspect of being able to come to someone and let them know how they've been being treated over there. And of course, this ain't even the first year that this has been going on. It's been going on for quite a while. It's just I think that they finally, like they said Sunday, Saturday, I'm sorry. They finally got tired. They use scare tactics like we don't cancel your prom, or you're not gonna be able to go to the prom, you're not gonna be able to go to your graduation. Um, and so that's the kind of stuff they use to keep people in line over there. And yeah, they do have the program tomorrow. And if I'm not mistaken, Lisa, you still on the phone with us?
Yeah, wait. Go ahead, Mike.
She's asleep. Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, I think she has an appointment with the board on the 23rd, which is the day after the program. But of course, that's not gonna do anybody any good, because Mike's still not gonna be able to. No, that appointment basically wasn't even accepted. That no, we spoke to him today, but that appointment, that would be no good for the short term goal. The short term goal was to get Jemiah to perform. It would help on the long term goal, but we really want to focus on the long term goal as far as administration and diversity, and because we're like February, they're not going to switch that up right now. But we did have another meeting, somewhat major meeting, but we're taking different avenues to address that. But talking to them today, it was almost like no shame, no empathy, no sympathy, no give a damn. Saturday, someone got up and said that when you do something wrong, or when you have a sin, you kind of don't want the world to know about your sins, and so you don't want to talk about them. I find that to be so very, very true. And I think that this is the situation there. They really truly want to just hold a tight ordeal to be swept underneath a rug. They was hoping that it was going to die down before anything actually came of anything, but it took life. And there's a lot of people that would not allow this to just be swept underneath the rug. At that school, and that school is just the tip of the mountain. They continually find stuff out at other schools, and from my understanding, it's not just county schools, but also city schools.
I tell you, that's why I say parents need to be present. Our parents of our children need to make themselves present at these schools. They need to be recognized, because as long as them teachers out there don't have the parents in eyes view on a regular, they're gonna always act. They're gonna always do as they want and make moves like that. But if the parents were always a constant visual and a constant, a supporter of their child's education by going out there to the PTAs or whatever and the parent teachers conferences and all that, and they knew that those parents were paying attention to what they do and how they teach their children, they would act differently. And I know this for a fact, because I've been there. I've been that parent. I've made it clear. I went to each and every last one of them, one of their teachers, and I left my cell phone number, and I made it clear. I said, I'm here to make your job easier and to help you, support you in educating my child. That's my job. But by no means am I just here. I'm going to be paying attention to everything. If those teachers see that and know that the parents are paying attention to how they teach their children and the guidelines that they putting forward, they'll act right. They'll move differently. But see, our parents, our kids, we won't show up to school. We're absent. These parents, got 80% black students, but you may have 20% of the parents showing up, for these different, events at the school. And that's unacceptable. You know what they say when the cat is out, the mouse is playing. We just got to do better. We got to be more there, more focused, more involved.
Well, I appreciate. Okay, Lisa, you done woke up.
That's what I heard.
You up? You up next, Lisa?
Veronica, you wrong. Wait till I see you, Veronica. Just wait till I see you. I ain't gonna forget this. I ain't gonna forget this. She knows she was asleep. She know we know. I thought you were playing. She knows we doesn't be sleeping.
Oh no, that's gonna be a tough one right there.
She'll play a possum. That was one heck of a possum. Yes, ma'am. Veronica, you know I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you good. Tell the truth. That's the problem. Okay, there is no meeting Thursday. I mean, Thursday. I think Darren was talking about that, or what Darren didn't say, but Mike said something about me. But there's no meeting Thursday. We saw them today, and this issue, Jemiah won't be, participating. There's no meeting Thursday. There's no need for the short term goal of getting her to participate.
No, but we do want to work on some diversity down there.
Right. That's why I tell them the long term goal is still in effect, and we still need the support and the push for that.
That lady, Miss Lightfoot, she was the teacher that was originally.
Hold on 1 minute, Lisa. Let me let another caller join in so it won't be interrupted. Hold on. Okay, Lisa, go ahead, and then we'll let the caller speak. Go ahead and finish, Lisa.
Well, we just gotta find some super teachers down there that are black.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Be in those positions of leadership.
Didn't they say Saturday that there's only 4 teachers of color at Hillcrest? What? Are you serious?
There are 3 teachers, 3 certified black teachers. I think the institute suspension, 2 paraprofessionals, and 2 people with emergency certification.
That's 10.
But 3, yeah. But you gotta look at it like this though, as well. Well, what happened to all the administrators? What happened to the black teachers that were there? So it seems to be but Hillcrest is not the only one. There are other schools that are made up where you had looked down at Taylorville Primary. They had a black teacher and a black principal, and it was actually the teachers down there didn't want to work for.
Didn't want to work. That says a lot.
I think someone said that lady, there were like 20-some teachers, and there were over 40 some evaluation. Where they come from? You can't continue We can't continue to allow them to create cultures where that are not nurturing to African American students.
You're so right. You're so right there. And can I say something? It's funny you use that term. I was just reading an article here, and how a lot of blacks, a lot of HBCUs, right, and they're taking on some white kids are wanting to go to our HBCU, and they go free because my understanding, the administration there is willing to give them a free scholarship so that they can kind of be taught, how to, taught about black history, about how black, what I'm saying, kind of give them a lesson in how to treat us or whatever. So they give them a free scholarship where this scholarship that they give to this white kid, they won't give to a black kid that can't afford to go to college, that wants to go to the college. So here it is, you got white America now invading our HBCUs, and then we're kind of forced to rehabilitate them. But our HBCUs were built for our kids to have a safe place to go and learn. But here it is, you taking a space from a black child and giving it to a white child that can go to any university that they want to. At least they had that opportunity. At least their parents and their parents had that opportunity. These HBCUs were created because we couldn't go to theirs. But now they want to go in and invade our culture, And then not only that, they're invading our culture. Now you got some of our culture going to other, white institutions. Like I know, and not to get away from anything, but like you guys, I know you heard of that dance line that's at USC. Anybody heard about that?
Mm-hmm.
You know how the HBCU, we have our bands, we have our dancers out there, and they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal. I mean, the white dancers on the field, white schools, D1 schools cannot compare to our band on no level. Or they can compare to these bands that we have at these schools. The athleticism it takes for you to be a part of the HBCU, you probably need to be more fit than the doggone athletes out on the field. But our dancers, they are stellar at what they do. So they got this group of girls, of black, young black girls, and I think USC, and they created that sort of, group there, bringing that tradition to that school. My fear is, though it's something to cheer, but my fear is, once again, just like the football players, they took all of those and they got them in their schools, all our athletes are at their schools. Next thing you know, you're going to have all our dancers, top dancers and stuff at their schools.
I don't know, what was the purpose of that? Just the Fly Girls or something? I still don't understand the purpose of it. See, they put it out there, they put it to you as if like they're acknowledging you and this and that. And within a few years, it'll be 2 blacks on there and
because the white girls gonna start
doing the black cultural dances.
Right.
Appropriate those dances.
That is my fear. Right there, Veronica. That's my
because
fear.
a lot of them, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of them go to like Alabama State, stuff like that, just because they get, like you said, they get to go free, then they get the sports scholarships. If you look at some of those baseball teams, I think even Steelers baseball team was predominantly white. So some of it is not even just to teach them, about us. It's just because they can get that ride. To be honest, because they don't like to pay. They don't like to pay for things either. But that tripped me out about that dance team because I'm like, okay, this is USC. It's in Cali. I kind of get it. But what they're doing it for is to draw attention. But the next thing you know, instead of keeping it, if you're gonna do it, then keep it that way. Don't let it be later on. It's 2 African American girls, and then you got the head one, and everybody else out there doing culturally black dances. Probably some of the same dances they don't want our kids doing as a part of the African American program.
I was just gonna say that that them dances that they were talking about down here, the strolling and stuff like that, they're saying is vulgar dancing.
So
It's always vulgar. It's always vulgar.
USC wants a whole all black majorette team now. Dancing.
Veronica and Lisa, let me ask a question. What exactly was the young lady gonna do at the Black History program? Was it a speech?
I'm trying to say that she basically had a great deal part in like the whole preparing the routine.
Yeah, she did the whole time.
You know, so she had a great part in preparing your routine. So she wanted to perform.
Okay, and that's what I was curious about. So it was something she was doing a solo performance of, or was
No,
it?
she put together the Black History program for the last 3 years.
Right. But there again,
and she wanted to be a part.
But she wants to perform. That's she wants to perform. It's the biggest thing. She wants to perform. That is her biggest thing right there, wanting to perform. She's still been helping and doing everything. I just don't understand why, as adults, you can't let this child, who's a child to you. That's why I say I do not apply that adults to our children as much as some of us like to do, because they're already taking our children and growing them up when it comes to things that they want to hold against them. You call a 22-year-old kid over at the UA a 22-year-old kid when he does something to go across the states in another country and get in trouble, stealing and stuff like that. He knew he was doing it, gonna act like he wasn't doing it. You want to call him a kid then. Our kids are kids. Let them be kids. Stop trying to say, yeah, they can be young adults or whatever, but you put that on them too much. You put that into society too much. Yes, it's young lady, young man, but we need to let them know that our kids, our 18-year-olds are kids too. Too many people too much want to grow them up and make them grown, and they may be knowing about what's going on in their schools amongst their peers, but we have still done the things that they've done. Different decade, just do it a different way. It still brought us the same results. They are kids. And we have to let them know that they are kids. And we also have to remind them too that, yeah, you're a young adult, but when it comes to certain issues, you need adults, all grown adults standing with you and behind you.
Once again, Veronica, that goes back to narcissism. See, their kids are kids when they want them to be.
Right.
When it's beneficial for them.
Right.
When our kids do something out of character or whatever, oh, we should have known. They should have known, but they're old enough to know better. You know, we can't put the cap on. We can't tag them as
that's right. Yeah, that's
children.
Let our kids be kids too.
Let our kids be kids.
Right. Right.
You know, and that's what they are. They're kids. They make mistakes just like your kids do. But no, you got to prosecute ours. You got to hold ours to the fire. Mm-hmm. But you want us to hold yours hand.
Because I feel like this lady's holding a grudge against Jemima as she would appear someone her own age. I mean, you get mad at children, of course. You get mad at kids. You have fun, but they're holding this grudge against this girl like as if she was an adult, a full-grown adult, a peer.
They're trying to make her. They're trying to show her. She wants to show her. No, who's in charge.
And that's what we're saying.
So,
hold on, Mike.
Lisa, you had something you want to say?
Hold on, Mike. Let me get this caller in. Go ahead, caller. Hello.
Hey.
Hold on 1 second. I don't know if I keep. I don't know what.
Okay, I wasn't sure I was on the phone or not, but I agree.
There's so many things you guys are saying, but let me ask you this about Jemima. What reason was given that she could not, and why she could not participate? Was there a reason? Anybody know it?
Good. I think it'll be a time for Lisa to start. Lisa was about to say something, but she can address that because
okay, good.
It's an easy answer.
It hasn't been consistent. 1 minute it was twerking. 1 minute it was because of a dress code. The next minute it was about something that she said. However, Jemima has not received a single written disciplinary action resulting in her not being able to participate in the like this program. Everything is in verbal.
Okay, let me ask you this. Now, when you say they, are we talking about the assistant principal told her that? Who told her that?
She was
Okay.
told by the principal.
By the principal. Now, you just can't kick a kid to the side in school without any kind of discipline notice or any kind of notice or anything saying that, hey, you can't do it. Now, go ahead.
Let me tell you, that's what we have always believed, but we're watching it unfold right now. Myself, Veronica, Ms. McKinstry, Bishop Evans, and Reverend Williams all went down to the county school board meeting today. And we spoke on that very issue. There is not, she does not have a written disciplinary, anything that's written. And by not being written, they were down to the round and said the way they wanted to. But it would have been nice. It would be nice if when it comes around to voting, and y'all, I know I always go back to it. When it comes down to voting, representation matters. People have to go to the polls if they want this to stop. Every last one of them board members up there were elected. Terry Johnson, the superintendent, was put in place by them individuals that were elected. The fact that they will not even, that nobody wants to do the right thing.
So what was the conclusion? What did they say? What did the board say about kicking that girl to the curb for nothing?
The board didn't say absolutely nothing.
What you mean they didn't say anything? They had to give you a reason. I mean, they had to say something. Don't you think? And y'all left without them saying nothing? Not one word. They didn't say. They didn't say.
Well, if looks could talk, there was one that looked at Lisa, Pastor Bishop Evans, and anybody else who spoke for it. There was another lady that spoke up. Looked at them with disdain. Well, Ms. McKinstry did a good job. Ms. Wills did. Everybody did a good job. But he looked at them as if he wanted to come across the stand in front of them. Okay, well they didn't say anything, and you can't make people talk who won't talk. So it was just an agenda. It was just they gave you your opportunity to speak. We could not make them. They did not move.
Okay, they did not move. Let me ask you this, because this got to be the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. I don't know what question you asked, but did you ask? Well, I'm pretty sure you did, because you said that, did you state that there was no reason given to kick this girl off, and why would you kick this girl off? And they didn't say, hey, we begged the teacher, we begged the principal, we begged the school. They
stand by the decision. That's all they stand by. They stand by the decision. They have not. There's never been a clear cut reason. There's been what Lisa like.
Okay, but
reasons that have been given.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
They have stated that they stand by the decision.
Okay, if they stand by the decision, then on top of that, there's no way in this world we should have a school acting in this manner.
I was about to say the same thing.
You cannot have a principal, a teacher, a counselor, or nobody doing a child like this.
Yeah, that sounds like an anarchy. That sounds like an anarchy to me.
You know, that's not good. And I hope they give that girl a standing ovation, mention her at the end of the program, and give that girl her props. But there's no way this should stop at we're just gonna discipline a child for nothing. We can't let that stand. I mean, no way at all.
You're right. You're right. But if we let this stand, it'll only get worse down the line. Yeah, the program is tomorrow at 9 a.m. So, and I think it is open to the general public, right?
We need to wear white T-shirts and there tomorrow. White T-shirts. Standing beside that lady, and that'll represent Maya. It would say that we are with you, and school, we are not with you. We need to wear white T-shirts tomorrow, some kind of something to represent. Everybody should have a white T-shirt or a white shirt or something to go down there because that's not fair. You just can't kick a kid off and say that shit. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. It don't, unless it's more to it. But if that's all they're saying and that's ridiculous. And I think we need to pick at that county board because what kind of decision is that? They're there to make these decisions. And if the decision is not, I mean, you got to have a balance there. Student, school. And the most important thing is the student. And you making the black child feel some type of way because they don't like to dance. If they didn't like her dance, all they had to do is tell her to change it. They have the authority. They have the authority to handle their school, to run that school, and keep it a certain way. Now, if the woman said, "Hey, yeah, we don't need you, whatever," all Jamal had to do as a choreographer is to change it a little bit, tweak it. You can't push your way up on anything because they do have the authority. But just to blackball that girl, that's another thing.
That's crazy.
Well, everything that you're saying is correct, and everything that you're saying has been approached from different angles. But when you have a non-compliant board that has all the authority, and as we've spoken in this program, all the power, that's what happens. So it goes back to what Lisa says. You have to find people who will run to create diversity so that we'll have people in place who will understand what our kids are going through. Because as of right now, with board representation, we only have one African American member. And she sat there just as still as they did because she probably knows that she can't say anything.
Well, the thing about it is, regardless of what color you get, just because you put
out, you need diversity. You still, just because you put African Americans there, it doesn't mean anything. But when you only have one, and that one, there are some things going on that people know about that one is not going to. That's like you don't have diversity. It was just like she was there, but not. So we need to create more diversity. That's the only way things are going to be addressed with more diversity.
But the board does not. Let me get in one more thing, and I'll let you talk. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the board does not have the power to lie, to be racist, to do anything like that. They have the power. They can make the decision on their own, but is it right? They don't have the power to stand by anything wrong. They don't have that power. And you can still go protest the county board of education. We can still do that. So nobody has the power to lie. I mean,
well, we know what people shouldn't do, Ms. Myla. We know what people shouldn't do, but they are board members. They are the ones who had you go to the principal, the vice principal. You go higher, you go to the board. So who within this amount of time, within 24 to 48 hours, they have they shouldn't lie, but they have the power to lie and to do what they want because as of right now, we can't suggest this little girl. I'm calling her a little girl because she's not an adult. She's 17, 18, but she's in school. She goes up there and perform on that stage anyway. So yeah, she has power too. If she go and perform on that stage anyway, then that's going to create a record of okay, maybe getting her expelled. She's a senior. So all we can do right now is support her. But we do have to create diversity because you can say they don't have the power to lie, but people lie. It's like putting on pins. They split their mouth. They tell. All you do is split your mouth to tell a lie.
But the people have the power to overrule. Go ahead.
I want to ask: is the board, are they elected or are they hired?
Yes. And that's why I keep saying we have to create diversity on the board.
Okay, so they are elected. Okay, so then if they're elected, then even though this African, this sister that's on the board, she still has a voice. She still could have spoken. Let me say this. Hold on. Let me say this because I tend to read a lot. So I read also, Katanji. We all know Katanji Jackson is, right? We all know who she is, right? Mm-hmm. She had an issue come across her recently, and she had to check a lot of her constituents, not constituents, but her members of that Supreme Court, because here was this young black man. He was a child. He was a young man, 19 years old, when he had committed an armed robbery, and apparently he was involved in several of these armed robberies, right? Come to find out, he had a lousy lawyer at the time that was supposed to be defending him, and it was noted by all those involved, the court, the lawyers, the law system, that his lawyer did him injustice. And he did him so bad and didn't defend the boy correctly in no matter, missed a lot of stuff. They gave this kid 162 years, right? So fast forward like 13, 14 years later, or something like that, he'd been appealing. So he brought the appeal, it went across the Supreme Court for appeal. And do you know, even though he was badly misrepresented, and they had evidence of him being a misrepresentation by the other lawyer, the conservative judges up there in the panel did not want to look at the appeal. And Supreme Court Justice Jackson went off on them. And she by herself. Well, her and Sotomayor had also, spoke, but Padanji's the one that brought it up. So that sister on that board, she has a voice. She can say something.
Right, Jesse, right. And if you can't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And she may be outnumbered, but her voice will be on record. It would be on record that she did not stand there. And then that would even show that we even need more diversity, because you got 1 to, 8 of them was up there. You got 1 to 7, and it's divided along racial lines.
Mm-hmm.
They are the ones who had they could have done various things, but you can't make them do anything. It may be illegal. It may even seem illegal in our eyes. It may be wrong. Morally, ethically, it's wrong. But you can't, once you take it there, all we can do now is work on creating the diversity, because the program is tomorrow. The only other out is for her to participate, and then that may bring other action that we don't even want.
No, we don't need her to get suspended, because they've already spoken that she could not do that. I understand that. My point here is that, whether you wear a white t-shirt or you go up there any way you can to stand and support Jemiah, that would be a good gesture. But here's the deal with the Board of Education. There are rules that they are governed by. And that's what needs to be tackled right there. We're not talking about they're breaking their own rules. We bring that up, and where's the press on this? Will we have press tomorrow showing that, hey, Jemiah wasn't allowed, to do whatever, where's the press? Then we get on the board, because there are rules. Every board has rules that you have to obey. But even though if they lie or whatever, you can still enforce it. You can still press it.
Lisa, please, please, this has got national attention. Lisa has been on several national shows. Their press is involved. There may even be something going on. Like we're not just trying. I wish a lot of these people that don't really understand the process of what's really going on would show up at more of these events because we've been announcing them.
Yeah, I was going to
We'll see. Yeah, and today at the board, and the Saturday before that, and the beginning of February when this all just really came to a head because you see that. How many shows have you been on, Lisa? Like you have to. You just can't make all of this change has to happen. It has to be a process.
Okay, let me say
because it's just like with the redistricting. We kept saying, well, they can't this, they can't this, they can't this, but they did this,
and they broke the law.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's like people break the law all the time, and they do it through loopholes, and sometimes they just blatantly do it in our face.
Yeah, they blatantly do it in our face, and when it gets by, when it gets through, when it goes through, because we let them. I'm telling you right now.
What would you have done differently that Jemiah will be performing tomorrow? I'll ask you that.
Listen, for me, I would have talked, of course, with the person who said she cannot and explained, hey, what kind of dancing was Jemiah? Let's see what you did. Let's see what you did. Okay, and that was done. Did y'all see the dance? Did y'all see the dance?
I'll tell you who saw the dance. The person who said that she couldn't dance, once they saw the dance, they didn't see anything wrong with it.
Okay.
So this is a form of adult bullying. This has to be approached systematically, methodically. I'll say methodically. Because the things that you are asking, Ms. Meyer, those things were asked weeks ago. And they've been being asked weekly, consistently, daily.
Okay.
Well, let me say something, ladies, right quick.
Let me get in 1 second, Jesse. Get in 1 second. What was asked today by the board, you got an answer, right? That was today.
We never responded to us.
Okay. When y'all looking at it.
We addressed the cultural insensitivity. We addressed the issue of unfairness. We addressed the issue of the lack of diversity in leadership on the systems administration. All those things were addressed.
Right.
It's just like when you go to city council and you address the council, they don't have to respond. You're only addressing.
You're only addressing. They don't have to respond.
No.
So you're saying, of course, like you said earlier, they're saying the same thing they always did. They are with the school. Now, you can go, and I'm just saying me, you can go over the board's head by their rules and regulations of the board. You can do that. And I'm just saying, let's not stop here.
Let me ask you something, Simon.
Okay. Right here.
Who do you go to?
Who do you go to over the board?
Yeah.
You got to find the rules and regulations book. Okay, let me say this. You find that, you get the rules that have been broken, you go back and say, hey, you have violated this rule, this, and this rule. That's how you do it.
Who do you go to, Ms. Minor?
Take it back.
Not being written. How do you address it? If there's nothing written, there's no record. Well,
Okay.
How do you address something that does not exist?
Okay, it does exist. It's not written, but it does exist through the evidence that that girl is not on that program. That's your evidence right there.
Well, Ms. Minor, we're doing anecdotal information. We're gonna take that information, compile it, and we're gonna turn it over to the federal government.
Great.
The Department of Education. which is they have a Department of Justice, which is the school system receives federal funds.
Right.
When you receive those federal funds, once you accept that money, there's a certain way in which you have to conduct yourself.
Exactly.
So once we turn that information over, then it'll be up to them to levy any type of punitive measures against the board operate in a way that was not consistent.
Exactly.
Compliant.
Exactly.
Everything that people are going back and saying, we've already thought of it. Those things are being done, but it's a process.
Right.
So it will be past the time that she dances.
Yeah.
But
and that was the short term goal.
It won't happen next month.
Right.
But ultimately, if we're consistent and if people stop being afraid to say something. Part of the reason why you have so many teachers, black people within the system that know stuff and they're afraid to step up and say something is because of what's happening right now. Because they see us fighting amongst ourselves or other people jumping on board, then jumping off. You got
It's telling us things that have already been addressed and done.
And then another reason is money. Money. They need their job. And that's the number one reason the employers don't get out.
But see, I don't believe that. I think that in the climate in which we are right now, I think if a person were to say something, if because it's wrong, I think retaliating against them would cost the board much more than what it would cost that person. And just think about the fact that there is a nationwide shortage of educators.
Can I say something?
Now, you have individuals in that school over there on emergency certification. They don't have enough teachers.
Right.
Can I say?
Right now is like a nurse.
Hold on. Let her the train of thought.
The teacher can go anywhere. But here's the problem. As long as people are afraid to say something and step up and be part of a movement, you're going to have the same culture. We're talking about the students. It doesn't even be healthy for that handful of black folks that's over there working. But the kids had more courage than they did.
Right. Yeah. And it's a bigger issue. Jemiah's issue kind of opened it up. But we've done the things and addressed the people and contacted the people, but it's just not going to be. So if y'all get what you're saying, it's just not going to be in time for her. And that was our short-term goal as a senior. So what you're saying is right, but there's still a process, and everything still has a process. And they put off the process as long as they can. Even if it's done the right way, they put it off as long as you can. But with this particular issue here, the short-term goal of letting her dance, they did what they did, and the response has been the same. Each question that you asked has been asked probably a month ago. Questions that other people who come on board to like this past meeting Saturday that hadn't seen the other meetings, those questions that they had, they've already been asked. They've already been put to the board. So the only thing we can do is support Jemiah at this point and continue to fight for the rest of us people.
Yeah, but
Why did you go to the board today?
How many teachers are against this child? That's what I'd like to know.
We don't know.
Who was the one that brought the complaint up? Was it multiple or just one particular teacher?
No idea. There's nothing written.
They are closed now.
I think y'all missing the point. There's no
They are.
that we received on here. There's
Right, yeah.
no documentation. So when you say, how many did this? What did they say here? It all it says in the email is, like you stated earlier, we support the earlier decision. That's what it is. Because of the Jemiah's behavior. There's nothing that says what the behavior was. There's nothing that says concrete evidence as to what this young lady did.
And
Okay.
apparently they asked another teacher, and she said she didn't see anything wrong with the child's routine that she was planning on performing. Is that true?
Oh, that was the principal.
That was the principal.
Okay, so the person is it, and that's it. Now, is this a black person, a white person? What's the person, black or white?
White.
Everybody over the white.
There is absolutely no black administrators.
All it takes is one. Now I got girls. I got girls myself. But one thing I've known over our history and time, when they go after our girls like this, under these circumstances, is they intimidated by this child's physicality?
Well, I don't know about
Something
all
like
that.
that. Something like that has even been mentioned by an adult at that school.
I'm trying to tell you because I got 3 girls, and the thing is, it's been noted in our history how white teachers, even not just male and female, our girls grow up a little quicker than theirs and develop quicker, and so they put our kids in a cloak, or our kids just can't be out and naturally and presenting themselves even in the most respectful manner. White teachers will find something against our children when they are more athletically built and just more physically.
See, that's I mean, we know that's it. That's what we're saying. We need people over there who understand the culture.
Yes, I'm trying
to understand our people.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. It's a bigger issue than Jemiah dancing. But the short-term goal was Jemiah. The long-term goal is the diversity that needs to be created over there so that the kids will, on the board and at the school, so that the kids will have, like Lisa said, address the racial insensitivity. Address the racial insensitivity.
And let me say this.
It's just crazy.
We have a problem in the black community with not supporting each other.
That comes from that CRT right there.
But then the worst of the problem is when people question you over and over and tell you things and they haven't been along every step of the way. And you don't have to be along every step of the way, but a lot of times, that's just like rules in life. People break the rules all the time. And other people suffer for it.
Yeah, so many that breaks the rules. Yeah, I posted about this on social media. I'm going to see if those people show up tomorrow at that Black History program. If they take time out of their schedule, out of their day, to show up tomorrow at 9 o'clock at Hillcrest High School to support these students. Because all of this is one thing, but I'm telling you, it gets very tiresome when I'm going on Facebook page, I post trying to address the and telling folks this is what you see your own people. So what's all the confusion about? Get your ass up and go to a damn meeting.
Well, that's confusion about. Yeah, that's true. And just listen to Tuscaloosa 411, and like I did, to get. But somebody had already hit me up earlier, before I even mentioned.
What I'm saying, not you, but I'm saying there are individuals in our own community that call themselves leaders in our community that will sit on Facebook and question certain things. And to me, here we go again, you damn fool. Because what you're doing is divisive.
Right.
And what you can do is shut up and do something.
Yeah, and that's true. But what I learned in life, and I've been at this for a very long time. Very long time. But the thing about it is, you weed out the no goods. People coming to you all the time, hitting you left and right, whether they want to get on board the showboat or whether they want to tear you down. Those kind of people, you just keep on moving from those. But Lisa, you said a very important thing, because when I was pushing you, what did they say? What did they say? What did they say? But you came out a second or two ago and said that, hey, because of her behavior, I didn't hear that at first because of her behavior. So I'm pretty, like you said, it's not defined. What about her behavior? What did they do? We don't have any of that. So, the bottom line here is that we got to hold people accountable. I don't care if it's 5 or 6 of them. So you got to make a noise, or 5 or 6 of anybody, and make a noise and do what you do. Keep it in the press. And make a
5 or 6. It should be several hundred.
Baby, if you could figure out why black people are stupid and why they stayed on the plantation, you'll be a rich man. You can make money off that.
Yeah.
Now, who is Missy Clayton?
I'm not sure.
Is this a troll page?
I'm not sure.
Read her comment.
CRT.
What do you mean CRT has no real world application? It was never invented to be used off of a college campus. If it has no real world application, why would a college campus use it, Ms. Clayton? Anything falsely labeled and promoted as CRT, anything falsely labeled, how does she know it's falsely labeled? And promoted as CRT means that material has no real world application.
Okay, that's one of
Any advocate who tries to take the inherent limitations that were embedded into the theory itself, there were no inherent limitations, Ms. Clay, and try to apply it to, say, grade school math education. Who's saying that that's what it's being applied to? It's not being applied to grade school math education. It's being applied to life. And then lying to you, huh?
Leave her in the comments.
I'm about to, but see, that's why I don't deal with a lot of people, because a lot of people think they got all the sense in the world, and then when you break it down to them and you lose your tact, then it's like you, the angry black woman. Now I only got my tolerance for stupidity to go so high, and then I start to get untactful with my speech.
Okay, well, don't get too mad. Just teach. Each one teach one.
Some people see Miss Minor. Some people they don't need to be taught. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, that is probably what you said in the beginning of the troll page, as a lot of the people who were involved in this whole entire endeavor.
And then look at her page.
A whole lot of trolls coming to their pages, coming to their phones,
Right.
all kinds of threats and violence and everything. You know, you had to have security at the meeting Saturday. Because of people having something to say about people meeting about this incident. So
yeah, I may be wrong, but she'll troll page. You can look at the stupidity on her page.
And did y'all know? And I'm just gonna throw this out for Black History. CRT, it came out in the 80s. The book was written in the 80s. And like you say, it's given mostly to college students. Literature or just reading for college students. And mostly probably in the African American studies. But they're just a Black history fact I'm throwing out there.
Yeah, actually it was the 70s.
Pardon me?
Actually it was the 70s.
That was that second. I read that it was the 80s.
You know, a lot of people, the initial people kind of 70s, and then a lot of people started to place, and that's probably when it finally kind of started to find roots, and a lot of people didn't know, and it's even now that people are just now still knowing about
it. Yeah, because if it hadn't come out with that professor, where was she? Well, she didn't get tenure.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then she left and went to another school. Now she's at Howard. And that's when it really blew up. And that was just maybe a couple years back. Pardon me?
Critical, the label critical race theory, if we take it away, what we're talking about is history. We're talking about American history.
Right.
I'm not going to let anybody attach a label to American history. It happened on this soil. It's my culture. You're not going to take my culture, place a label on it, and then tell me it didn't happen. Or it's insignificant. That's like pissing on me and telling me it's right.
And you know what? Yeah.
That should be the pushback. What are you talking about? Are we talking about American history? Or are we talking, what are propaganda
Right.
that you're using to reduce the backlash to you because of what your folks did in the past. But here's the thing, you can talk about, they talk about black on black crime as if white on white crime does not exist. We talk about things about disparities in healthcare. We talk about, or we're going to talk about, we talk about things like the Tuskegee Institute. Experiment. So it's so many parts. With the Tuskegee Institute, the Tuskegee experiment is equivalent to those small box blankets that they gave the
Indians. Right.
So
Y'all, let me.
all this negativity. You want to erase all this negativity associated with your culture, but you want to perpetuate all the negativity that's perpetrated by my culture.
But most. Go ahead.
It's like Alabama. Okay, Florida definitely takes the lead in a lot of this stuff. But Alabama is always right there with it. Do you know they said, okay, per the Washington Post, this is in Alabama. As the country celebrates Black History Month, some parents in Alabama calling education officials to complain to schools that they believe celebrating the month is a way of practicing something in the classroom, critical race theory. So now they just want to take this Black History Month out of school, period. So State Superintendent Eric Mackey told members of the Alabama House Education Policy Committee this week that he has received, I'm thinking he's gotten an overwhelming volume of calls. Y'all, he received at least 2 calls from parents in recent days who said celebrating Black History Month is a way of educating students on critical race theory. Now, when has in the heck has celebrated Black History Month until they become so ashamed of history? This is Alabama, somebody calling down there to the legislatures saying that to celebrate Black History Month is celebrating critical race theory.
Well, you're going to have some nuts out there. You're going to have some nuts out there.
And then, Miss Honey, it's so sad that Alabama is always, like I said, Florida take the lead, Mississippi take the lead, and Alabama right there with them. Right there with them.
Look at here. Darryl said something earlier this evening when he was talking about how people were feeling about us knocking down and pulling down these statues. This right here is a pushback from us wanting them statues gone. So white folks, they gotta find something to push back.
No, what I said was if they feel like we're taking away their history, and this is why they're doing it, this is part of the reason they're doing this. What we're taking away with those statues is not something that they're relishing and promoting and just glorifying people who did bad things.
Exactly.
But when we did that, they said that we were taking away the history. They're trying to compare it, and they don't compare because we're not glorifying anything at all that was wrong.
It doesn't. But
those statues were glorification of wrongdoing by evil people.
It goes back to what I was saying about the Europeans. In most cases, they're narcissists. See, they feel there's nothing wrong with those statues because that's the way they feel. They feel it's okay. There's not a problem with that. That's their mentality.
So let me talk about the statues for a minute. I don't mean to cut you off, but I know we're short on time. So please excuse me. Now, y'all are probably going to scream at me when I say this. Now, when that was happening, I told people a statue ain't never did nothing to me. I had never done anything to me. Now, I sit and watch 4 days of the Civil War. Yeah, some got their butt beat bad. They got beat bad. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is, it was a divided nation. If their hero was Robert E. Lee, that went against the general of the North, Ulysses S. Grant, that was like a battle of Muhammad Ali and one of the best fights out. That's what this was. We're talking about 500,000 people died. But if they want to celebrate their history, history is history, bad or good. Just like y'all was saying, hey, we want to tell our history too. We want to tell American history. That's Americanism. Whether it's bad or good, that's what it is. So, for us, the statues, like I said, statue never did nothing to me.
But that's the thing, Miss Myra. It's just a statue, but it's the anger behind it. If they had left the statues up, I wasn't gonna fight that. I mean, they do what they do. If they take it down, I was glad for it to come down. But I wasn't gonna fight to let it come down. But that's just their mentality and the narcissism that lives in them. As Jesse spoke of, they're so mad. It's like they got to do something, and that's just one of those other things. Yes. That the CRT thing just that much from them.
Yeah, it's that much more for them to get their hands on that and deny it. Right. But you gotta look at this. How in the world is we even see the fact that we tolerated, a lot of the Southern soldiers after that Civil War was over with, the way they were tolerated is beyond me. Because you're treasonous traitors. First off, none of them are patriots. None of their ancestors are patriots, for one. Because to be a patriot of this country, you have to be honorable to the flag and the Constitution. None of them were that. So all these people that's holding these battle flags around here, you pretty much perpetuating treasonous behavior. That's number one.
We know that they don't care about this country and the Constitution or the institution that of this country after we saw the restoration.
Right. And they don't even think that was wrong. They think they were performing something they constitutional rights doing that.
But I think as we look at this Jemima situation though, we can say, okay, our short term goal was not met, but we still are successful in supporting her and having her recognized. But then, like, to bring it all back to this thing that's going on in Hillcrest and that's going on in other schools as well, because it's not just going to be the county. It's there's stuff. It's going to be the city. We need to just work on what we can work on locally. So a lot of people love to talk about local. So I talk of address it all local, state, and federal because it all matters. But right now with this is one of those times where this is coming down from the top, but we can still stand and try to do what we can locally, and that's the only way to do is to vote, to get those in there, to get people who run, approach people who you feel like, even if they say, no, I won't want to do it, put the idea in their head, plant the seed. Maybe we can get more diversity. Maybe we can go from one black person on that board to 2 or 3. At least somebody who will be willing to speak out, even if they're outvoted, at least they can speak out.
That's right. I agree.
Ineffective representation. And if nothing else, sometimes you have to say something to get it on the book that it was saying. So that people can't go back and say, well, it was never addressed.
That's right.
So you have, even if you're going to stand by yourself, you're going to have to be strong enough to stand up and speak out. And again, you don't put people on the board because you like people. You put a poor person on the board because you feel this is the person that's best able to support that position. But as long as we as a people, one thing that I keep hearing, what people say is, when they assess what's the biggest problem with African Americans, they say we don't vote. We don't vote. Or when we come out to vote, it's about popularity. This ain't what we're saying it, but they're laughing about it because they know it's true.
Hold on.
They know. And as long as we continue that way, we will not make any strides. Because when you go up against the board, they sit up there and look at you like you ain't nothing. We don't have to follow the rules because there's nobody that's going to make us. Because you know what? If you sue us, what judge you going to follow?
Well, we just have to try. We have to try.
Wait a minute, Miss Minor. We can try by starting in our home. Because if you know you got to go to this judge, you got to go to this district, truth of the matter is, a lot of us don't care until it happens to us. As long as it's not happening to us, our kids, that's their fight. And when I say their, that's them color folks over there. We these color folks over there, over here. So until we all see all our black kids as our kids, then it doesn't work. It just don't work. And it's sad that those kids, those young people, had more courage than us adults. And you cannot tell me. And you know, when I listen to, let's take it away from Jemima, when I find out that her mother, I done had this meeting, I done said this, I done talked to these folks. When you find out that this woman went up there to talk, to address the issue and sat in an office for almost 2 hours and nobody even bothered coming there and saying things to her until she picked up the phone and made a phone call and said, hey, did y'all get up sitting in this office? Now she was in sports back there. She didn't just walk through the building and go sit in front of the office, so they knew she was sitting there. So that's indicative of the culture that these kids go to school in, where you can leave a black parent sitting in an office for over an hour and a half. So that's the problem. These people at that school know you're going to have to appeal to the board, and we already know they ain't going to make us do anything.
All right.
So if you got to go vote.
Yeah, you got to go vote. You got, like you said, you got to get somebody who is willing to run. And that's just the way you have to go. But
guess what happens? When you get somebody that's gonna run, that say I'll run, white folks go find a little token Negro, we gonna support you, we gonna get you to run because we don't need no loud people to have this seat. Or what they say they're a troublemaker. And so then you find somebody in our community that will sit up and split a black vote.
Okay, the thing about it is that
don't want nobody to call these people out. Nobody wants to call these people out when they do this stuff, and everybody knows what they're doing.
And that's the thing. All I say is call them out and do what you can do. There's nothing wrong with a try. I don't believe it's not going to work until I see it, until I know it's not working. That's me. I would try. And there's nothing wrong with trying. I think we should keep pushing. And like you say, if you go to the
that meeting Saturday should have been standing room on.
Well,
we had a representative there from the Department of Justice.
Right.
That room should have been standing room only. If you are a black elected official in the county of Tuscaloosa, I don't care in what capacity you're voting, you're elected in. You're a representative. If you went in that room, shame on you.
It wasn't but two, right? How many black representatives out there in the county? And we got
I saw. But let's not talk about the ones that was there. Let's talk about how many wasn't there.
Who are the ones? That's what I'm saying. How many is there? Black representatives.
How many people we got? Wait a minute. No, I ain't saying the county after Tuscaloosa. The entire town, not just the county school system.
Oh, okay.
And it's easy for somebody to say I had something else to do.
But we just keep on pushing. We don't worry about who wasn't there. You know what? You don't need the one that wasn't there. Because the ones that wasn't there, they do come around, they ain't about nothing, they ain't got no backbone, they ain't gonna do nothing but talk you down. So let them stay where they are and just keep pushing. That's all I have. That's how I work. I keep pushing. If you ain't with me, you're against me.
You can't push against yourself. You can't push against yourself. If we as a collective are addressing it, we can't have our people pushing against us. Here's the thing. The white people won't do it, and it's a shame that we have more support. need to talk to some of my folks. I think we can talk to some of my folks and tell them it's okay. Doctor said it's okay. You can go on to the meeting.
Or even if they ask you what you want them to come out, show up. You know, let the face
They
get
will
up.
show up. They will
So
show up.
tell them that's right.
Look at when the protest that we had like with George Floyd. I remember it was the biggest protest that I ever seen in Tuscaloosa.
It was
most of white people.
right.
But I can tell you who I didn't see there.
Yeah,
You didn't see a bunch of elected officials there.
Do you ever?
They'll come in when they some strides are being made or about to be made. And sometimes they come in and mess it up.
We can't continue to do this. We hurt ourselves.
Yeah, we know.
We hurt ourselves.
Yeah, we always did. We are our worst enemy. We are our worst enemy. But the thing about it is, tomorrow's going to be the Black History Program. It's going to go on, and I pray that they give Jemiah her props at the end.
Jemiah is done. Let me tell you about Jemiah. And I'm sure she don't mind me telling you this. When they talk about her behavior, this is a student that has been dually enrolled since the 10th grade. A few more credits, she'll be graduating from college. This is a student that owns her own business, bona fide business, because she a boss and she got a boss attitude, and she's too much for them. She's too much for them.
Exactly.
So we know what the problem. So we know when you have a creative, a motivated young African American like that, because you got people on Facebook what really happened. How the hell you don't know what really happened? How the hell you don't know what really happened at Hillsborough? Why would you put that on Facebook? But if you got somebody that's a boss like that,
that's right.
You're supposed to surround her with love. We're supposed to surround her around. We spend hours talking about how to solve crime in our community. We'll spend hours talking about the shooting, black on black crime. But then we leave our young people that are trying to do right. We leave them defenseless when they get attacked. It's not right. And you wonder why we can't retain a lot of talent in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. When they get to where they need to be, they get the hell up out of here. Because not only do they know the white culture in Tuscaloosa, they know the black culture in Tuscaloosa as well. They crowd mentality that we have.
Okay, so let's try to change that by doing all that we can do. We know the history of Tuscaloosa. We know the people in Tuscaloosa. We know the elected people in Tuscaloosa. We know what they will and will not do. We even know the mayor in Tuscaloosa. So the thing about it is, just do what you can do. You ain't gonna fix everybody, and the people are who they are. If they ain't nothing, they ain't nothing. Period.
Because of her courage and her being able to speak out. And let's not forget that this young lady is receiving hate mail. Her mom is having to sift through her emails to make sure and sift out some of this hate that this young lady that just turned 18 Friday is receiving. But then think about this, she get on Facebook and she see folks questioning her. Not folks that look like you, but folks that look like her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say, dang shit. You looking for your 15 minutes of fame. You sit up getting on Facebook, calling Lisa out, but Lisa stays consistent. She never wavers. Lisa does what she gonna do. But Jemiah is this actually on March the 3rd, Friday, March the 3rd, Jemiah is going to be honored at the Alabama State NAACP I want to say it's something like a foot social award or something, but she's going to be honored in Montgomery, Alabama. There are several other people that have reached out to her on a national stage. They want to do interviews and documentaries. So Jemiah is going to get her just reward. And like I told her from the beginning, I don't want you to be disappointed because you're going to find that those young people that came out and support, you won't get that with the adults. This is the conversation that I had to have with her. But if you stick it through, I promise you, you will get your just reward. You're going to find out that some of your own folks, some of them own students in there are willing to go in there and lie. You're going to call them in the office and they're going to tell them out. It does not matter. That's the reason why at the meeting, her mother asked for her disciplinary file. I want to know what her disciplinary file looks like right now because what you won't do is add anything to it.
And I hope she did get it. If she did not get it, you need to do a certified letter.
She did get it. She got her disciplinary file because she was trying to be painted as a behavior problem in the school.
That's what
that's what they were trying to do to her.
In the file? Was this in the file?
No, they're not in her file.
Okay, what's in the file? Is she clean? Is she clean?
Yeah, we can't get into that right now because it is.
Okay, I take I take that question back. That's a private question.
Yeah, it's time for us to go ahead on and close it up. We've been on 2.5 hours.
What?
Yes. So we Daryl, you still there? You sleep?
I'm here.
Okay.
Y'all want me back up.
I see.
Hey, well, good night, everybody.
That's what he was going to sleep because it was conversations that need to be had. It's stuff that need to be put out there. Maybe some people need to hear something. Maybe they agree, maybe they disagree. But sometimes it's just stuff that needs to be had. If it goes on and on, and it's not all arguing, it's passionate, but no arguing. Sometimes things just need to be said, and maybe somebody will get from this. You need to go vote. You need to go stand up with people sometimes.
Yeah. You're
well,
right.
If they heard something, they do want to
I don't know. Did you want to finish this up on Thursday, Daryl, or
we
something else that planned?
Yeah, we could come back to it. I'm pretty sure the media from tomorrow, along with whatever else might happen, we just gotta open it up sometime. People just got to be able to start talking about stuff that no one else wants to talk about. You're not going to hear from certain conversations. But I appreciate it. And, like I said, everybody tune in on Thursday, same time, same place, right here on Facebook, on the TTown 411 Report and our community conversations. And we'll talk to you all on Thursday.
All right, y'all. Good night.
All right.
Tuscaloosa, get ready for the TTown Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Grill Festival, Saturday, May 27th at Pelmore Park, featuring O.B. McKenna, Avail Hollywood,
Is you 25 and
Arthur Young, Tucker,
They call me Tucker.
TK Soul,
don't drive me.
Miss Jody, plus Donnie Ray and the J. Morris Group. Also a special guest